Okay, so we're gonna do a little bit of movement to start out and then explore a few meditation techniques. Make sure to honor yourself where your body is at today. You can always adjust if you're feeling a lot of discomfort. And just remember, meditation is not about silencing or quieting your mind. You might have some pockets of space, but an opportunity to just build some focus, attention, awareness for your experience. Okay, let's start out in standing position. So wherever you're at in your space, bring your feet hip distance apart. Make any little adjustments that you need with your shoulders, legs, and settle into the support of the space you're at. Bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart center. Relax your eyes. Take a moment here to ground. Feel the soles of your feet making contact with the earth. You can also do these same movements that we'll be exploring in a seated position as well, if that feels more supportive. And gently release your hands down. With your inhalation, sweep the arms up to the sky. With exhalation, bring the hands together. Elbows come to center. Bend your knees, elbows towards body. Round your back body here. Inhale to open, expand through your front body, arms to the side, little cactus arms. Exhale again to draw elbows in, round. Inhale to open. Exhale to round. One more time. Final cycle to round inwards. With your inhale, legs straighten, arms to the sky. Exhale, arc over to the right side. One hand to hip, top arm up and over. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, opposite, or same side rather. Staying to the right. Inhale, back through center. Exhale. One more time. In breath through middle, exhale, move to the opposite side now. Right arm up and over, arc left. A few more times here through your side body. Final time with an out breath to arc. Inhale back through center, both arms to the sky. With exhale, open wide, little cactus arms, release. Arms by the side of your body. Take a wider step with your feet if you're standing. Lift one heel off the ground at a time. Start to spin and twist, side to side. Arms heavy like noodles, following along the motion. Releasing any tension from your spinal column. And gradually begin to slow down this motion, coming back to a pause. And if you're standing, make your way to a comfortable seated place. Use any props that you need to support your low back to uplift and extend. And take time to adjust here and settle into your seat. If you're in a chair, feet on the ground, and if available, a little bit of space between your back and the back of the chair. Hands either a little bit wider or one palm rests at center than the other palm in that palm. Taking in a deep, full breath. Exhale to let it go. And take these beginning moments to settle here into the seated space. And take inventory of what's going on in your physical body. Welcoming and acknowledging whatever you're aware of, whether it's more lovely or not as supportive. And from your physical body, check in with your breath rhythm. Simply take note, is the breath free-flowing? Does it feel contracted somewhere? What's the temperature of your breath? Then take your mind's eye to build some awareness with your mind. Is the mind busier, more spacious, somewhere in between? And gradually here, as you continue to welcome yourself, however you're showing up, create a little bit of a focal point for your mind. We'll work with what's called an anchor phrase. So it's a little statement to repeat, to give the mind something to attend to. You get to choose the statement, whatever resonates most with you. It could be just one word that you repeat, like peace or connection, stability, openness. Or it might be a larger statement, something like this too shall pass. I am strong. I am more than enough. I am connected. I honor doing the best that I can, here and now. So allow something to arise within you that feels like a supportive anchor phrase. And then gradually let that be repeated internally at your own tempo and rhythm. And as you continue this technique, at the point that you become aware that your mind is no longer focusing on this repetition of the anchor phrase, and you've drifted off to other thoughts for a prolonged period of time. Gently and kindly bring yourself back to the technique at hand. And continue to check in. Where is your attention? If you've drifted somewhere else, not a big deal at all. Simply come back to the internal silent repetition of your anchor phrase. If your mind is somewhere else, very gently and kindly bring it back to this technique, continuing a little bit longer here. And very slowly allowing this technique to conclude. Let your repetitive statement fade into the background. You might still hear it chiming in. No, that's normal. And bring your awareness to your physical body. Check in here if there are areas where you're starting to feel numb or sensation is arising. Take note if this is something you can sit with and be with. Sometimes Slight discomfort can morph and shift into ease or pass by and pass through. If you're finding that it's something that is moving towards pain or is already in pain, know that you can always adjust with intention and care and come back. And from this place, letting go of any unnecessary tension in your mouth, jaw, shoulders, hips. Begin to attune to the rhythm and cadence of your breath, natural breath. Life breathing you here, air moves in, air moves out. And in this little technique, let the pause at the top of your inhale and at the bottom of your exhale be your focal points. So you could even visually trace, noticing the air flowing into your body. Little pause, hover at the top. And then as you exhale, visually trace down. Little pause at the bottom of the out breath. Let that be your focal point, noticing the pause. If you find that noticing the pause in both directions is too much or not working for you, you can also just focus on one, either the inhale or exhale. And same idea, once you find that your mind has drifted somewhere else, you're in another narrative, thought journey, lovingly nudge yourself back to refocusing the mind, noticing the pause between inhale and exhale. Even if this happens many, many times, you get distracted and come back. That's the practice, returning back over and over again. And check in, where is your mind's eye? you've gone somewhere else, opportunity to come back, noticing the gentle pauses of your inhale and exhale. Check in with your attention. Honor anything that's unfolding in your body, ease or tension. A few more minutes to return the mind back to noticing the pause. And very slowly allow this technique to come to a close. Return your awareness back to your physical body where you're making contact with the ground. And also notice the space above the top of your head. Take in a full, complete deep breath in. Exhale through the mouth, nose, letting it go. One more time, deep breath in. Optional sound or sigh, letting it go. From this place, observe anything that you're aware of, anything that's shifted for you through engaging in this practice, whether it be in your body or your mind, your breath. With your palms rising to touch in front of your heart, or one hand flat at heart center, then the other hand on top of that. Acknowledge and affirm yourself for showing up, for carving out this time. To celebrate each other's company, this ability, this gift that we have to be in inquiry, to explore, to strengthen the muscle of awareness. Gently bow your head to your own heart. Take on some light with your eyes. Feel free to make any little motions, movements with your body. Thanks so much for joining. Take your time to reintegrate into your day. If you have any comments, questions, I'll be on the chat for a little bit longer. Otherwise, see you soon. Take care.